A phone plan costs 550 per month plus 8% tax. What is the total monthly cost? Tax. Let's find tax. The tax will be 8/100 multiplied by 550. So here I will divide one of these zeros. Then I can use what? We can use this 2 to divide this. That will be 5. 2 will divide this. That will be 4. 5 will divide 5. That will be 11. What do we have there? 4 times 11. That is 44. That is 44. Total monthly cost. Total monthly cost will now be what? We are going to add it. The plan and the tax. That will be 550 positive 44. And that's going to be what? 594. And that's it. That is D. That is 9/14 positive 5/21. Let's work on that. So I will use LCM. What is LCM? 14 and 21. A number that 14 can divide, 21 can divide will be 42. So here, how many 14? In 42, that will be 3. 3 times 9, that will be 27. Then positive. How many 21 in 42? That will be 2. 2 times 5, that will be 10. 27 plus, that will be 37/42. Then, can we divide? Is there anything that can divide each other? Nothing again. Our answer is B. This is 5/8 divided by 15/16. So the first thing will be when you are dividing fraction. What will you do? You want to change it to multiplication, then flip it. 16/15. As some people will say, they will say KCF. Right? And flip. So now we can divide. This is going to be 1. This is going to be 2. 5 can also divide 15. This is 1. This is 3. 1 times 2, that will be 2. Then 1 times 3, that will be 3. And that's 2/3a. A recipe requires 3/5 cups of sugar. Maria used only 2/3 of the required amount. How much sugar did she use? What is that asking us? That means this person used what? 2/3 of what? Of 3/5. What is off? Off means, it means multiplication. So we just change it to 2/3 multiplied by 3/5. Then here, what are we having? 3 will divide 3. And what is our answer? 2 divided by 5. And our answer is A. Our tank is 7/10 full. After draining 2/5 of the water, what fraction of the tank remains full? That is what? That is 7/10 full. Then, what do we drain? After drain 2/5 of the water. So what is that part that is drained? What is the part that is drained? So I will write drained. The part that is drained is what? 2/5 of 7/10. 2/5 of 7/10. Then that will give us 2/5 times 7/10. Then 2 can easily divide 10. This one will be 5. So that's going to be what? That is going to be, that's going to be 7/what? 7/25. So 7/25 is what? 7/25 is the portion drained, right? So the question is now saying, what fraction of the tank remains full? So 7 over 5 over 25 is what? Is drained. The remaining. The full one is what? The full one is 7 over 10. Then we subtract this. This is drained, right? This is drained from it. Then, since this is drained, this is the full, what we had, what we started from before we drain it, right? Then, remaining is going to be, let me say remaining is 7 over 10. Negative 7 over 25, right? Use 50 now as the LCM. How many 10 in 50? 5. 5 times 7, that would be 35. How many 25 in 50? That would be 2. 2 times 7, that would be 14. Let's subtract. 35 negative 14. That would be 1. That would be 21. So this is going to be 21 divided by 50. Is there anything that can divide each other? Can anything divide each other? No. Then our answer is that. What's our answer? C. Our answer is C. Our answer is C. Okay. This. In a class, the ratio of boys to girls is 5:7. If there are 42 girls, 5:7 boys to girls. Boys to girls. 5:7. What is the total ratio here? 5 plus 7. That is 12. Okay? 12. Then, if there are 42 girls, how many boys are in the class? Here, we can use proportion. We can also use 42 girls and 7 ratio 7, right? So, if we have girls occupy how many parts? 7 parts. And they are total of 42. What will be 1 part? What will be 1 part? Then we can do 42 divided by 7. That means a part is what? 6. Then how many boys are in the class? How many parts? Boys are how many parts? Boys, there are 5 parts of the whole thing, of the whole class. Then that will be 6 multiplied by 5. And that means there are 30 boys. There are 30 boys. And that's B. 30 boys. If you want to use, if you prefer proportion, you can say 5. So we are looking for boys, right? 5 over X that we are looking for equal to 7 girls over 42 number of girls. Then cross multiply. That is going to give us 7x equal to 5 times 42. Divide by 7, divide by 7. This is going to be 6. And this is 1. The x is what? 5 times 6, 30. So let's do red, 4, blue, 9. Total ratio is what? Total ratio is 4 plus 9. That is 30, that's 13. So you can do it. To me, I will just do parts. That means we are having 13 parts, right? Total marbles. Total marbles, how many are they? 52. Total marbles are 52 here, right? Then that means total marbles 52. Then we can share them into what? 13 parts. If you want to share them to 13 parts, what will be a part? We can do that straight because we have total, right? Let's do 1 part. 1 part of marble will now be what? 1 portion, 1 share of it will now be 52 divided by 13. 52 divided by 13. What would that be? How many? How many 13 do we have? That should be 4. Okay? 4. So that means if you try to share this 52 into 13 places, that will be, it will be 4 each. Then the question is asking for blue. So blue, how many parts is blue taking? Blue, 9. 9 parts. Then that's going to be 9 times 4. That will be 36, and that's C. So if you want to use proportion in this case, the proportion you will use will be blue, that's 9 over X, equal to the total is 13 over 52. You cannot use proportion that has to do with red and blue in this case. A map uses a scale of 1 inch to 25 miles. Two cities are 8 inches apart on map. What is the actual distance? 1 inch is 25 miles. Then we need 8 inches. 8 inches. We need the mile for that. We need the distance 8 inches in mile based on what the map says. So that will just be what? That will just be 8 multiplied by 25. Since 1 stands for 25, and that's going to be 200 miles. 200 miles. And that's C. That's C for us. Proportion. Yes, you have to cross multiply if you put it in proportion form. That means if you do 1 over 25 equal to 8 over x, then you have to cross multiply if you are using it that way. So this is x over 12 equal to 15 over 20. So on this, what do we need to do? We just cross multiply because equal sign is between them. Cross multiply. So once you cross multiply, here x times 20 will be 20x equal to what? 15 multiplied by 12. Then what can we do? Divide both sides by 20. Divide both sides by 20 to divide. 5 can divide 15 and 20, right? How many 5 in 20? 4. How many 5 in 15? 4 can also divide 12. How many 4? 1. How many 4 here? 3. What do we have? 3 multiplied by 3. And that's what? 9. Our answer is B. Our answer is B. X is B. A machine produces 180 bottles in 12 minutes. At the same rate, how many bottles will it produce in 20 minutes? The first thing to quickly check here. 20 minutes, 12 minutes. The two are what? The two are aligned. The two are in the same what? Unit range. They are in the same unit range. So you are good with that. Because if one is in seconds, the other one is in minutes, you want to balance that. You don't want to just rush to that. But now we are having 12 minutes, 20 minutes. Perfect. They are in line. So let's write. I will just put them in what? In proportion thing without wasting my time. So I will do 180 bottles equal to 12 minutes. Then how many bottles will it produce in 20? How many bottles? So X, I don't know that one, in 20 minutes. In 20 minutes. Then what are we going to do? Let's make it in proportion now. In proportion now. Put 180 over what? 12. Then in the place of 180 now, X for the second side. Then the time, 20. Here, what do we do? We cross multiply. We just cross multiply. 12 times X, that's 12X. Equal to what? 180 multiplied by 20. I will not say let it become bigger. Let's divide both sides by 12. What is there that can divide? 6 can divide 12. It can also divide 18. So let's use 6. 6 in this. 6 in 18. 3 and 0. 2 can also divide. What can we use? Let's use 2 to divide 20. That is going to be 10. So that's going to be 30 times 10. That will be what? 30 multiplied by 10. That's 300. And that's C. That's C. That means there is going to be 300 bottles. 300 bottles. If 4 workers can paint 3 rooms in 6 days, 4 workers can paint 3 rooms in 6 days. How many workers are needed to paint 12 rooms in the same number of days? So that means we need what? We want to check how many number of workers will paint 12 rooms. How many number of workers will paint 12 rooms in 6 days? In 6 days, right? In 6 days. So Let's identify those things. 4 workers, they will paint how many rooms? They will paint 3 rooms. 3 rooms. We've known the number of days. They are using the same days, right? Let's not bother ourselves. Then we want to check how many workers. X. We do for 12 rooms. We will do for 12 rooms. So the first thing will be, if you are looking for, if you are saying 12 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 workers, right? The same number of days. Then that means 3 rooms, 4 workers. Then let's share these 3. Let's share these 12 rooms. Let's share these 12 rooms. So 12 rooms, we want to group it in 3, 3. How many group of 3 can we have in this? How many group of 3 can we have in this? That's going to be 4 groups. 4 groups. Do we get that? 4 groups. Then if we can group that into 4, then for a group of 3, for a group of 3 rooms, how many we go for that? 4 workers. Then for 4 groups now, that will be 4 multiplied by 4 equal to what? 16 workers. A jacket originally cost $80 and is discounted. There is discount. Then, discount means it's going to be at a reduced price. It means jacket, the cost original cost 80, right? Then when there is discount, original price is going to be less of that. That means it will be less. We just find 25% and subtract from 80. So it will be less of it. But we can still I will do it in 2 ways. Let me do it this way so that I can use the 2. So the first method that we can use, that will be jacket originally cost. So cost price, that is 80. Then discounted 25. So let's do 25% of 80. Then we now subtract to know the same. So this is going to be how many 25? How many 25 in 100? 4. 1. How many 4 in 80? This is going to be 20. So this is 20. 25% of this is 20. It's $20. 25%. That's it. So, and with this, we now want to find what? Say this. That means this 20 is the discount. That means 20 is the discount now. Then say price will now be what? So it's equal to cost price minus discount. So in that case, it's going to be 80 minus 20, and that will be 60, and that's B. Another way will be, let the original be 100%. Original 100%, then negative, original 100%, negative 25 as discount, right? What is this? 75. So we now do 75 over 100 of 80. So what do we have? 75. Let's say this is 0, but we can still do something like, we can say cross out. What do we have now? 75 over 10. Let's use 2 to divide 10. That would be 5. 2 to divide 8. That would be 4. Then, how many 5 in 75? 7. That will be 1. That will remain 2. With 5, that will be 25. That will be 5. So that's 15. That's 1. So that will now be 15 multiplied by 4. What's that? 60. So check which method do you prefer? Which method do you prefer? So a student scored 54 out of 72 questions correctly. What percent is this? What is the question saying? 54 out of 72. What is percent? How do we do that? 54 divided by 72. Then multiply by what? 100, because the question is asking what percent is that. Then what is that? What are we going to do? 9 can divide. 9 can divide. How many 9? How many 9 in 54? How many 9 in 54? How many 9 in 54? To divide 8, that will be 4. 2 in 4, 2 in that, 4. 2 in 6, 3. So now I'm having 300 divided by 4. 300 divided by 4, 7. That's 28. It remains 2. Take the 2 to 0, that will be 20. How many 4 in 20? That will be 5. And that's 75%. C. 75% C.